You know that feeling, right? That big, high-stakes meeting where everything is on the line, and the pressure is just intense. We've all been there. But what if you had a tool, a framework, to not just get through it, but to actually own the room? Well, today, we're going to break down something called the MCAF method. Think of it as your personal amplifier for when it matters most. Let's get into it. Seriously, think about it for a second. Your heart's pounding, your mind is racing, and all that brilliant stuff you prepared just vanishes. How do you cut through all that noise? How do you keep your cool and actually deliver your message with the confidence it deserves? It's a huge challenge, but the good news is there's a system for it. And this quote right here, this is the absolute core of it. It's a total mindset shift. Most of us think of our notes, our prep, as a script we have to perform perfectly, but that's all wrong. Instead, I want you to start thinking of it as your personal amplifier. It's not there to make you a robot. It's there to take your voice, your ideas, and make them stronger, clearer, and more powerful. So that amplifier we're talking about, it's called the MCAF framework. And it's this incredibly practical tool that's designed to support you through the entire process, from all the prep work you do beforehand to how you show up in the moment, and even how you think about it after it's all over. It's got your back. It all boils down to these 4 pillars. Mcaf stands for motivation, which is all about your why, cognition, which is how you structure your ideas, attention, how you manage your focus, and finally, flexibility, so you can adapt on the fly. Each one is a critical building block for creating real, unshakable confidence. All right, let's pull these pillars apart and see how they actually work. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how each one helps build up your confidence, piece by piece. First up, motivation. Now, this isn't about cheesy self-hype, no way. This is about connecting to the deep down, real reason you're even in that room. It's about your purpose. When you're locked into that why, something amazing happens. Your voice just naturally gets calmer, it gets more grounded, more authentic. The nerves don't disappear, but they don't control you anymore. So here's your goal for this pillar, and it's super simple. You're going to create just one, 2-line anchor phrase. This is your personal mantra. It's something you can literally say to yourself in the elevator on the way up, just to remind yourself what this is really all about. And check out this example. This is perfect. Do you see the power in that shift? It's moving from I'm selling something, which feels transactional and kind of high pressure, to I'm sharing a tool that helps people. That simple reframe changes everything. It changes your energy from nervous to purposeful. Okay, on to our second pillar, cognition. This is the what and how of your message. It's all about taking these big, complex ideas that are swirling around in your head and figuring out how to explain them clearly. The secret is being able to tell your story in layers so you're ready for any situation. And the practical goal here is to build out 3 versions of your core message. You've got the short version, that's your 30-second elevator pitch, the medium version, your 2-minute overview, and the deep dive, the 5-minute explanation. When you have these ready to go, you can just flow between them seamlessly. You're never caught off guard. Pillar number 3 is attention. You know how it is. A meeting can go off on a tangent, someone asks a question that throws you, and suddenly you've lost the thread. This pillar is all about being proactive and managing your own focus and the energy in the room. So how do you actually do that? Well, first, you create these little mental tripwires. These are just internal alarms you set for yourself that go off when you feel yourself losing focus or getting distracted. And second, you create a super quick pre-meeting reset. This can be as simple as 3 deep breaths before you walk in the door, just enough to get you centered and sharp. And that brings us to the final and maybe most important pillar, flexibility. Look, being prepared is crucial, but being rigid is a death sentence. Flexibility is your ability to read the room, to listen to what's really being said, and to pivot your message to connect with your audience right where they are. And the tool for this is so cool. It's called a pivot map. Think of it as your strategic cheat sheet. You actually map out in advance how you'll respond if the conversation goes in different directions. This map is what keeps you feeling in control no matter what curveballs get thrown your way. And here's what that looks like in practice. It's brilliant. You just anticipate the likely turns. So if the conversation suddenly turns to big picture strategy, you're not flustered. You just pivot to talking about vision and impact. If they want to get into the nitty-gritty details, you pivot to the practical tools. See? You're not just reacting. You are prepared to respond with intention. Okay, so we've got our 4 pillars. But here's where the real magic happens. They don't just exist on their own. They work together to create something incredibly powerful. When your motivation, your cognition, your attention, and your flexibility are all working together, they create this amazing positive feedback loop. It's a cycle that builds on itself. We call it the presentation confidence loop. And here's exactly how that loop works. Your preparation with cognition gives you clarity. When you feel clear, it naturally reduces your anxiety, and that leads to calm. And because you're calm, you're not just broadcasting your message, you're actually listening. That creates genuine curiosity about what the other people in the room are thinking. And that curiosity is what lets you pivot effectively, giving you a real sense of control. And all of that, clarity, calm, curiosity, control, it all culminates in deep, authentic confidence. Now, the best part about the Mcaf framework is that it's not just some abstract theory. It is a real, actionable system that you can start using right now to get ready for your very next big meeting. So that brings us to our final question, and this one is for you. You don't have to become a master of all 4 pillars overnight. Just pick one. Looking at your own style, what's the one thing that would make the biggest difference for you right now? Are you going to start with motivation and write that anchor phrase? Or maybe start with cognition and map out your 3 stories? The first step is totally up to you.